how are you guys doing today? Say, I'm really having trouble reading these notes. Then again, I was a product of Portland Public Schools, so what can you expect? But seriously, Portland Public Schools is having really bad funding right now. For example, when I was a freshman in high school, they nearly canceled school for about a month near the end because they just couldn't afford it. Fortunately, the teachers did agree to work without pay for a month. Of course, they weren't too thrilled about that. Now, as you can see, if a school can't get money to educate kids, they'll turn out like me and will have trouble reading their own notes. If they're having trouble reading their own handwriting, what makes you think that they're going to be able to read stop signs or speed limits? Oh, maybe they'll have a little bit better luck reading, I don't know, instructions for operating a wrecking ball crane. Alright, so in my speech I'm going to talk a little bit about how the current financial situation is not so good, and some issues that I would like to address. The salaries of the teachers and administrators, and what they have to go through, and the mismanagement of the system. Alright, so let's move on to my first topic. The teachers and administrators, how much they make. According to my polls of the audience, you guys think they make about $25K a year and slowly get raises every year. Well, that's half true. According to this chart right here, as you can see, with a regular bachelor's degree, they start at about 34 grand a year. And the more education they have, as you can see here, representing number of credits, master's degree and whatnot, they make more money. And I'm sorry that it's blurry and you can't see it. A, B, C, D represents the years that they get paid, or get raises. And according to this pie chart right here, the bulk of the pay for the teachers is right here. It's over 52%. I'm sorry, it's blurry again. Of course, they not only incorporate the teacher salaries, but also the textbooks. I'm not exactly sure why they don't keep them separate, because I would think that they should, but you know, that's Portland Public Schools for you. And administrators make up about 18% of the budget, that right here, second most, but more on that a little later. And as you can see, like I said before, here, teacher salaries depend upon their education. The more education they have, the more they earn. All right. So now that we know how much they get paid, let's see what they have to go through. Teachers are really overwhelmed with work. Can you imagine having to grade all that homework that they give? You would think that they'd only have a 40-hour work week, but in reality they end up having to spend more time outside of class prepping and grading papers. So why do they give so much homework if they can't grade it? It's because there's so much pressure on them to teach so much in such little time, according to the Willamette Week, that they have to. But more on this a little later. One of my high school teachers said if teachers only work for the hours that they are paid, the whole system would collapse. This is Bart Millar from Lincoln High School, 2 blocks over that way. And he was once nominated for Teacher of the Year. I still keep in contact. He's a cool guy. And now, teachers also have to constantly worry about losing their jobs, especially new teachers. Let's give a hypothetical example. Teachers and jobs hirings are based on seniority. When hard times come, the younger ones are the ones that get laid off. So let's see, when good times come again, most of these good teachers that were laid off previously will have already found a job somewhere else, and they're not really likely to come back to PPS if they know they're just going to get fired again, when the economy gets bad. And this was from Bill Griffin, another high school over there. He's been teaching 38 years, and so he knows the system pretty well. Now that I've addressed some minor causes for our crappy schools, let's move on to the big picture. Mismanagement. According to Willamette Week's report card for Vicki Phillips, right here, she resigned from the position fairly abruptly and implemented many controversial policies that baffled many teachers. And what this did was this made the teachers and administrators, have to patch up all the bad things she did. As you can see, she didn't get very good grades on her report card. I don't know about you, but if I got this, my parents saw it, they'd kill me for that. And guess where she went to work, of all places? The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation up in Seattle, where she now makes $300K a year and works with millions and millions of dollars, whereas when she was superintendent of PPS, she was making $200K. You know, big pay raise, as you can see. Another issue I'd like to point out as for mismanagement is school funding is based on student attendance. According to the PPS website for school district number 1, the funding that schools get is based directly on if students show up on any given day. Another issue is principal salaries are partially based on performance and test scores. And according to Willamette Week's article, Homework Rebellion, the homework load has really gotten really heavy because there is so much pressure to get high test scores, as you know, because that's the best way to measure performance for principals' pay. Now, even though giving, more homework supposedly betters the education, this may not be the case exactly. According to Willamette Week, in that same article, 22% of entering freshmen in Oregon drop out before they graduate. So let's see. Schools' funding is based upon student attendance. Kids are dropping out because the workload is too much. Seeing a pattern here? And all throughout school, this is about what I felt like with the homework load. And what am I saying? I still feel like that sometimes. I really felt like sometimes my brain was just scrubbed against the washboard every day. It's just miserable. And I guess to sum it all up, PPS is in bad shape because teachers are not getting paid what they deserve, they're overworked, and there is great mismanagement at higher levels. Many of you probably don't care as much about this issue as I do, but when we all get old, it will be our children that will be taking care of the country and us. If they can't get properly educated, they probably won't do a very good job of it. Now, I believe that no matter how much trouble our schools are in, it will get better. I believe in a public education system. It can only get better if the students stay in the system. Things will work out eventually, but we just have to be patient. Thank you for your time.
One quick question. Okay.
Can I ask a question? You said, so it's based on attendance, the salaries of folks, and you think that they drop out because of the amount of homework based on tests? Okay.
Yeah,
I just
a lot of, that was one of the Willamette Week, a lot of kids supposedly had to drop out because they just couldn't handle school, they just hated it so much, because I remember when I was going to school, they were given so much homework that you just couldn't get it done. What I was saying was actually principal's pay was based upon performance, i.e. test scores.
Feedback from the